You go through a relationship, you fail. Trying to start your business, you fail. Developing your career, you fail. Finding a better job, nothing. Things don't work out. Things don't work out. And you do exactly what everybody does. I'll give you the roadmap. I'll give you a roadmap of making money. Same thing that I'm doing right now, today. I know that I'm making money tomorrow. Same thing, I give it to you. You won't be able to make any money. Do you know why? The method is the same. The amount of time you put is the same. I'm not more smart than you. I don't have some sort of superpowers. I'm just like you, I'm a human, right? What is the difference? The difference is intelligence. I have amazing things to share, amazing things based on hours, weeks and years of research. Not the things that just upgrade your knowledge or add something on top of it. They are, but they're more practical. I'm not talking about like Shopify or do this and do that. No, I'm talking about you yourself. Because the problem never been that you're disciplined. The problem is never been the world around you. The problem is never been anything. Everything is being you. And you're the central point of your reality. You're the number one character. And it's like you don't know the character. You don't know what is the game and you don't know how you're going to walk through all this. It's not always your financial and accountants. Your relationship is not always the girl you choose. It's you. It's always been you. It's going to be you. Okay, light is fine, camera's fine, the voice we got, let's do this. This particular guy has a really positive energy. What does that mean? So if you just ask somebody in a random basis and tell them, okay, you say this guy has a positive energy, what he actually got that you considered as an energy. Sometimes you hear like somebody's telling you, I'm gonna give you an energy. Like, I'm gonna send you my positive energy. You hear that, right? So if you ask people, like average people, what is that energy? Average people cannot define it. Isn't that I'm trying to explain this scientific topic to you? I'm not going to be able to deliver my message to you guys without explaining this into a scientific way. If you're a Jewish, Christian, Muslim, whatever religion you got for yourself, whatever belief or whatever sort of information you got for yourself, you cannot say that I do not believe gravity. Gravity exists without you believing it or not. It exists. That's the same thing. Format of energy that we're trying to explain over here, scientific description. I'm not pointed out in the base of spirituality or any sort of religion. I'm trying to teach you guys over here, it's not my own science. Obviously, I'm not a scientist. Something that I made of myself, or it's not an opinion. Basically, hundreds of years of science. I only did the research. So what I'm going to tell you over here is just a description of the researches. Exists on the internet. You can do your own research. Made it easy for you guys. I'm going to start with a really simple question. What is the reality made of? In a simple language, we all know what is matter. We all know what we're talking about, right? So we have irons, waters, all those elements on the Mendeleev table are considered as matter. Now, if our entire world is made of matter, then what are frequencies? What are the sounds? Magnetic fields. If you just close two opposite magnets together, they're going to resist getting closer to each other without any matter or any object in between. We may not be able to see those things, but these things are our reality and they are as real as everything we see. English is a perfect language. And why I'm saying the English is a perfect language? Because the words giving the messages. If you have a look on the word human, it's two parts. Hue and man. So hue stands for a range of colors, can be described as energy. Man stands for matter. So hue, man is basically energy and matter mixed and created us. We are not just the organism that we have right now. We are more than an organism. We are humans. Our energy inside the matter. Of course, everybody has their own explanation. Science does not care about an explanation. Science only care about one thing: result. Now, result is going to be based off measurement, observation, and repeat. So, is this something that I can observe it? Can I see? Or is it something that I can measure it, like statistics? And if I repeat it, will I get the same result? This is the whole science. Like all the sciences in the world are basically the same. Majority of the achievements of our new reality is into the past century. These people, which I'm going to name them in a second, proven that the energy exists. So you will understand that when we're talking about the energy, we know what we're talking about. I'm going to name them one by one, and I'm going to tell you what they actually achieved and why this is important for us to know in terms of understanding what energy is. First person is Professor Hans Eppinger, who was an Austrian physical and hepatology specialist. In 1930, he found out that from a baby has an electronical field inside of him. So he has electronical activities inside his body. When he tested, he saw that, all right, every grown man also has it. And when he take the test further, he understand that every alive organism has electronical flow inside of him. We're talking about every animal, we're talking about planet, everything that we see and it's alive has electronical fields and electronical flow inside. So when he tested, he saw that if the subject is alive, he has it. And if the same subject is dead, the electronical flow is going to be stopped. He take this step and a step forward, and he measured the cell of each live organism. And he understand that these electrical flows are coming from those cells. So every cell has its own electrical flow inside the body. Now it's really important to know, because back in days, if they wanted to understand if somebody is dead and they wanted to issue like a death certificate for somebody, they would be measuring aliveness basically with the reflections. So they would see, oh, this person is breathing, or he has eye activities, his heart is beating, or whatever that is basically in human nature. Try to understand the subject has any live activities in order for them to understand that this person is dead or not. This was okay, but this wasn't a really good way to understand, because sometimes the subject has the heartbeat or he's breathing, but it's really slow and it's really small that we might not going to be able to see or observe it, which proves during the history many people has been buried alive. And these people being alive and get buried. And nowadays things are different. They measure the brain pulse. That's it. If no brain pulse, if the brain does not have electrical activities, the subject is dead. And that's when issuing the death certificate. The same reason that they give you an electronic shocks. Whenever you saw in the movies, so whenever the subject is dying, and let's say, like you saw the movies, right? The heart pulses is gone, and they start giving the person like electronic shocks in order to make the electronic fields flow again and recycle. Last line of saving somebody. They just try to recycle their electronic fields, and most of the time they're able to bring the subject back alive. So, second person we're going to talk about is called Alexander Gruevich. Basically a Russian embryologist, which he discovered biphotonic back in 1920. He understood that the human body or human embryo basically generating lights. Not only they have an electronic field inside of them, but they are generating lights. Lights which coming outside of them, like they're glowing. And nowadays, if you actually have a look at military equipments or hospitals, are some sort of equipments which they can see or observe the body by its lights. So even, for example, in a really dark night, they can see someone. That's specialized equipments because of this discovery. As I said, Alexander in 1920 had the discovery that the human generating lights. And based on his researches, years later, Simon Davidovich, another Russian scientist back in 1939, he basically invented a sort of machine which you can see and observe these electronic fields around you. Basically those lights around you. After that, another Russian scientist, by the way, Russia has many researches and has many achievements when it comes to the topic of energy and bioenergy. Russian scientist called Konstantin Kortukov, which by the way, he's still alive. He's the only one who is still alive. I think he's supposed to be around 80. He made basically an advancer machine. He called the JDV. I think it's a stand for gas discharge visualization, which it's it's basically throwing some sort of gas, and based on discharging those gas, it's visualize those lights around you in a really detailed way. So now JDV machine still exists in advanced hospitals nowadays. There are JDV machines which you can basically go and pay and take an JDV picture, which they will show you like the lights around you and your electronic fields around you. Now, if you have a look of a JDV picture, you will understand something. There are certain points in the human body. There are actually 7 points in a human body, and these points taking the energy and throwing out energy. Basically, they are recycling the energy. So these are the central point of energy inside your body. When you see the JDV picture, you will see that your entire electrical fields are around these points, and basically a circle around you. So you have 7 central energy points inside your body, and these 7 energy points basically create your entire energy field. Now they call these central points of energies chakra. So there are 7 chakras existed on the body that are recycling the energy around you. We're going to talk about it in the next session. Now, we're coming to the 4th scientist, which he was actually from France. His name was Andrew Bovis. Now, Andrew Bovis has a really nice invention. He invented a machine called biometer. Now, the word bio means like aliveness, right? And meter, which means the measurement. He understood that those live subject, which you take a JDV of and you see like the electronic fields around them, are basically different and they can be measured. So that's why he invented this machine, which is basically what he does is measuring these fields by a number. He called it Bovis. And nowadays, everything which is alive can be measured by this measurement. And some nice research has happened after this machine has been found. Every alive subject which is on the earth has 6,500 Bovis. So every human, every monkey, every animal. But when they measured the things that are living inside the ocean, like fishes, sharks, these things has 5,500 Bovis. Have like a less electrical magnetic fields around them. And there are certain interesting things as well. Some vegetables or some fruits which they have more than us, 7,000, 8,000, even more. So for example, lemon, 10,000 Bovis. Coconuts has 16,000. Bee pollen can hold up to 230,000 Bovis, which we call it superfood. Coconut oil, honey. The point of everything I said so far, you can basically change your electromagnetic field based on what you eat. We'll get to the point that you can control it based on what you think. Now I know what you're gonna say. You'll say, all right, let's assume I controlled it. I have a high energy magnetic field or whatever you say. So what's going to be the usage? Like how I actually going to use it? Well, if you actually know how the world is going to be on your side when you have a high electromagnetic field, it's like having a superpower. We all know Jesus Christ had a miracle which he would touch people and people get healed. It was some sort of a miracle, and we all know the story. Now, nowadays, scientists realize what he was doing is basically energy healing. He was holding a huge amount of electromagnetic field. So if you assume that the normal person is 6,500, Jesus Christ was, based on what science is saying, he was somewhere between 18,000 to 24,000 Bovis, which is a superhuman. When he was walking into a certain place, people would just get into his electromagnetic field. Like you feel when somebody's coming. And with this power, he could just heal people. Imagine what source of power it is. Yes, back days, people were calling it miracle, of course, because they didn't know, but it's all scientific. Nowadays, we have machines inside the hospitals, which they do the same thing that the Jesus were doing. Radiology machines, energy healings, and all of these things nowadays are existed and they're not miracle. We call it miracle. Back then, people were calling it miracle because there was no scientific evidence. I'm not saying that they knew what they're doing. They had the ability the ability comes from, it's come from the God. I don't know. And I'm not also repeating this stuff. I lived it. I experienced the things that I'm saying to you guys. It's not something that, okay, I did my researches. Of course I did my researches. I went through the history. Of course I went through the history. I read books, this, that, Google. Yes, but at the end, have I achieved anything from it? Of course I did. And that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, because I feel a heavy responsibility after knowing what I know right now. That's why I don't care if you subscribe or not, if you like or not, I don't care. My mission is something else. I'm not trying to force the knowledge. People who are ready, they just need a click. In next video, I'm going to talk about the central point of energies that we've been talking about it, which calls chakras, how you can use them, what will happen if you control them. You would be amazed that what you can achieve as a human. So sit tight. We'll see you in the next video.